You don't expect a routine trip to the supermarket to end in a hand-to-paw confrontation. But that's exactly what happened in a quiet mountain town just north of Tokyo. It was the evening of October 7th, 2025, in Numida, Gunma Prefecture, a place where the aisles of the grocery store feel safe. The lights are bright, the shoppers calm, and the automatic doors slide open without a second thought. Then one bear walked in. It was about 7:30 p.m. The sun was dipping behind the ridge, the shadows beginning to creep over the parking lot. Inside the store, near the produce carts and sushi case, about 30 to 40 customers were browsing, just as they always did. They selected their dinner items, chatted quietly, glanced at phones. In the background, the soft hum of refrigeration units, the quiet beep of scanners, the low murmur of voices. For some locals, this store was a comfort zone, a little island of routine separated from the mountains beyond. But what they didn't know was how close the wild world was creeping in. Suddenly the doors slid open, and in stepped something none of them expected. A 1.4-meter adult bear, by many accounts an Asian black bear, wandering into the store from the main entrance. At first, people froze. The bear advanced slowly into the fish and sushi sections. A stunned shopper recounts. It almost climbed onto the fish case. The glass panel rattled. It knocked over a pile of avocados in the fruit section. The Straits Times +1 in that moment the familiar became surreal. Two men, aged 69 and 76 respectively, were injured, one inside the store, one in the parking lot. Non-life-threatening but terrifying. And the rest of the customers? The panic was silent first. Footsteps hesitated. Carts left in aisles. Doors slammed behind them. The bear, for roughly 4 minutes, prowled and searched for a way out. The Japan. What turned this from odd into nightmare was confidence. The assumption that the supermarket was safe, that the wild stayed outside. That illusion shattered. Imagine standing in the checkout line and hearing glass shatter. The bear's paw hits the fish case. A customer in the produce section stumbles backward. The automatic doors open and shut as people try to flee, some frozen, some screaming. The bear pivots, visibly agitated, unsure of its place. The store manager later said it didn't look like it was foraging. It was confused. This isn't a bear did what bears do story. This is a bear in the middle of human everyday life. A collision of two worlds that don't often mix. And in that collision, the rules change. People hastily evacuated. Staff alerted emergency services. The bear, once calm in its forest habitat, was unsettled, disoriented. The moment the animal realized the aisles weren't fields, the checkout lane wasn't a cave, the panic became mutual. The wild feared escape, the humans feared the wild. In the aftermath, authorities tallied the damage. Injured, 2 men, both elderly but surviving. Shocked, dozens of people. Underlying threat. The incident happened as Japan logged record numbers of bear-human encounters. From April through September, at least 108 people were injured in bear attacks nationwide. And this event wasn't isolated. On the very next day, in Iwate Prefecture, a man's body was found in the mountains, suspected bear mauling. Malay male +1. So what you're seeing is a ripple effect. Small-town grocery store becomes battleground, mountain trails become danger zones, and every one of us becomes a potential witness or participant in a story we thought belonged only to remote forests. Why did a bear walk into a supermarket? Why at night? Experts say the answer lies in shifting ecosystems and human population changes. The acorn crop failed. The food sources that sustained bears in the mountains are scarce. Meanwhile, fewer people live in rural areas. Fewer hunters roam the woods. Fewer warning noises echo at dusk. Put simply, the wild is seeking what we have, and we are pushing deeper into its domain. The boundary between the human and animal worlds is thinning. That's not dramatic hyperbole. That's a fact reflected in rising bear injuries and fatalities. In Gunma and other prefectures, stores near mountain slopes now face risks they never once considered. A supermarket aisle is no longer divorced from the forest. It's part of a new frontier of encounter. But there's more. When these attacks occur, what happens behind the scenes? Local residents in mountain towns whisper, "Yes, we've seen them before." Official statements say the bear entered. One man was injured. The case is under investigation. But locals say warnings were raised, sightings ignored, equipment outdated. A manager admitted the store had never had a bear come close before. The question becomes, how prepared were we? How ready were they? And for the viewer, think about your local grocery store. Think about how much trust you place in it. This story cracks that trust just a little. It says, even here in your safe zone, the wild could walk in. And that is a jarring shift of identity, from consumer strolling aisles to potential witness, to potential target. Now here's the empowering part. Yes, this story is scary. Yes, it shakes your sense of everyday safety. But we're not powerless. On the contrary, awareness is our tool. If you live near forested areas in Japan, or anywhere with bear populations, know this: food attractants matter. Secure garbage, avoid dusk wanderings, heed local advisories. For city dwellers, don't sleep on this. Wildlife is moving. Climate change doesn't stop at the mountains. For travelers, if you visit regions like Gunma, Hokkaido, Tohoku, know that safe supermarket isn't always safe. The story we just walked through could happen elsewhere. Risk equals awareness plus respect. If you find yourself in a shock moment, bear in store, bear on trail, run not uphill but to a barrier. Create noise, don't turn your back, leave the scene. These basic rules still hold. Finally, share the story. Talk about it. Because the only thing worse than being unprepared is believing you're prepared when you're not. If you leave today with one thought, nature isn't waiting outside the door anymore. It's no longer outside. And in that realization lies our power to respond, to adapt, to stay safe. If the story shocked you, share it with someone who lives in bear country. Hit that like button if you value safety over surprise. And if you're new here, subscribe and turn on notifications so we keep exploring the unexpected corners where our world meets the wild. Because stories like this aren't just headlines, they're warnings. And when you see the bear in the aisle, you'll remember, that could have been me.